Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition here of Wrestling with Tism. For the first time, not only on YouTube and X, but on Instagram Live, where there is always, now more than ever, spectrum on the internet. I'm your host, the He-Man James Hebert, joined by my co-host, my other host, if you will, the Fish and Disconnection, Hannibal and Ryan. Gentlemen, what is cracking? What is happening?
Oh, beautiful day. Beautiful weather. Went outside. Enjoy the air and all that. Indiana weather can be quite extreme, by the way.
Yeah.
I don't know you guys. So it's just like sunny, 70 degrees.
Can't complain.
Beautiful. Is what it is. Enjoy your lives, guys.
Absolutely. And my good friend from across the pond, how are you doing, good sir?
Hey, it's always a good day when you've got two co-hosts who are here.
That's true. That's very valid.
I
will say, you may be fed up with one of them because I got a story to tell you, good sir. Because I had saw on Twitter you were correcting somebody about how to do tea properly. Oh boy, do I got a story for you.
Yeah, every American does.
Yeah, so this is my first time on how to make or how I had tea. I was at a friend's house. They had a tea. They had nothing else to drink. I was parched, so I'm like, fuck it, I'll try tea, right? Never had
water,
tea,
but whatever.
Yeah, water. Never had tea. Never had tea, the traditional tea, mind you, not the iced tea stuff. Not the point. I go and cook it. My bright idea was to open the packet and dump it in. And so I drank the tea with the tea leaves inside, and my teeth were something fierce. Man, I can't even repeat what happened, but it was a sight.
So when you say put the packet in, what do you mean by that?
As in, like, I cut
the tea bag.
Cut it open.
He's saying the tea bag.
So, you cut a tea bag open and just poured the contents into and then tried to drink it. And this is after you cooked the water. Cooked the water.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep. I thought that was a great idea. It was not my smartest moment.
No. It
was not.
I can see how this show's going to go. If you've got any tea related mishaps, please on the YouTube put some comments in there.
There you go.
Is anyone more of an idiot than James? No, but you know what? But humorous with your
humorous. Maybe there is that one person that maybe you never know.
I don't think so.
Yeah, probably not. No. It was not my brightest hour, guys. Not my brightest hour.
No. Doesn't sound.
Anyway, not enough tea related chatter unless Ryan has something to add, but I doubt it.
James, you racist. I'm not going to sit here and berate our British co-host here about tea stories. You got to think. How many Americans do you think Hannibal's met in his life?
What's the parade?
Hold on. No. Now, how many Americans do you think Hannibal's met in his life?
It's a good question.
How many times do you think someone has thought, man, the first time I made tea, wrong, ignorantly, cook the water, you boil a pot, you boil it in a pot.
Yeah,
and then you pour the water. And then you pour the water in the cup.
Listen. All right, I tried my best.
Advocate knows. I mean, the weird thing. I mean, this is not how I expected to start wrestling with Tism, but hey, that's kind of the show, right? The thing that I think I found most interesting was the fact that American kitchens or American homes, but specifically kitchens, generally don't have like a kettle or anything, which is almost a staple in a British home. Just for a variety of things, obviously for making tea, but to kind of give your pots a bit of a quick start if you want to boil water, if you're making pasta or something, or you're boiling some veg or something.
I do that with pasta all the time.
It's but the fact you guys don't have kettles, you have Keurigs and coffee makers and the like, that's the
or in this case, the most brokey budget thing ever, microwave. That's what I used my first time.
I mean, if someone tries to
my god,
in a microwave, it's I mean, just
I had microwaved tea with the tea leaves out of the bag and drank it. Like, drank the full thing, mind you. I just want to specify. I actually
because that makes the story much better than it was before.
Oh no, it doesn't. Yeah. I know I'm an idiot. That's the whole point. This is absolutely the point. So, there you go. So but it was what it was. And that's my tea story.
Yours.
It was. I have fucked up tea. Excuse my French.
There it is. There it is.
7 minutes 58. We lost.
I was good. I was good cookie this time.
All right. There it is.
So I mean, actually, I'm not actually sure if we're actually streaming on Instagram. So maybe that was a blessing in disguise. But we've got a few topics that we wanted to talk about tonight, and for the first one, we are going to kind of keep it in house. So we're gonna talk on this, and we're going to invite people slightly later on to talk more of a fun topic, which I don't want to spoil too much. But as the thumbnail suggested, as the promo that Ryan put out also linked up to, we wanted to discuss the topic of tribalism, which is something that we've done before here, we've done before on the collective, but it's something that I think just every now and again is worth bringing back to the table, because I think Ryan will agree, one of the things that was most appealing for us when we joined the collective was the purpose, the mission statement of trying to end tribalism in what is a very toxic community. And I mean, I'll be fair and say that the IWC, the internet wrestling community, is a very toxic place on the internet. However, it's not just the IWC. We see this in all kinds of fandoms: Star Wars, Star Trek, Marvel, DC, tea versus coffee, if we want to bring it back to how we started the show. There's lots of things that have this kind of thing, but the IWC, but the IWC, I think, has a very interesting way of looking at tribalism. People are tribalistic that don't realize they're tribalistic, and people are being accused of being tribalistic when they're not tribalistic. It seems that, I don't know if it's the type of people in the IWC or that people have some kind of different definition to what it might entail, but there is definitely a different conversation about tribalism and wrestling. And so it was something that wanted to be brought up to the table. I don't know, Ryan, if you wanted to take over from me, or if you want me to just keep rattling on my crappy British accent, more than welcome.
Well, so we joined Wrestle Collective. We were in a relatively speaking toxic environment at that point in time. When we found Wrestle Collective, you a little earlier than me, much love to our peoples and to our fans within the Wrestle Collective and adjacent channels. Tribalism I think is a blanket term that is misnomered quite a bit. Toxicity in every fandom exists. Okay. And you mentioned Star Wars. Okay. Lucas era Star Wars or Disney era Star Wars. Okay. You have Lucas purists, which, by the way, if you think George Lucas is a good writer, I'm going to call you an idiot.
Yeah.
You know, it is what it is. I love Star Wars and I am a Lucas purist, but he's an idiot. Let's be real. The only reason why I'm a Lucas purist is because, well, at least I had movies coherent for the time period. Coherent, subjective term here. You know, is what it is. These movies were never well written. They were always made to sell toys, and it just was what it was, right?
Yep.
But tribalism, okay. Because I do believe the mission statement, ending tribalism one conversation at a time. I believe I'm the one who first started putting that material out into the ether.
Yep.
So this is more a sword of mine that we've all embraced, but everybody wants to fight toxicity.
Yeah.
So tribalism is a misnomer. Tribalism is more than having a preference of a wrestling company. I am an AEW shill. Okay, cool. I watched WWE for 30 years of my life.
Yeah.
You know, you tell me, do I look like someone? Do I look like someone who doesn't watch WWE?
I would say no. I'd say you up with it more than I do, to be honest.
My point is, okay, you guys don't watch the product. Yeah, I watched the product enough to the point where now I don't even have to watch the week-to-week product anymore. Look at it for 5 seconds, tell you everything that's going on in the story. Maybe that's a me problem. Maybe I'm obsessed. Maybe that's my autistic special interest, right? But tribalism is more than having a preference. Okay.
Yeah.
In 2003, 4, I discovered TNA Impact, or TNA, the TNA of its time. You know, AJ Styles, Abyss, Christopher Daniels, the X Division. Eventually, you know, meet Samoa Joe, and I don't meet Samoa Joe, but we, you know, observe the triple threat match for the first time. You know, the triple threat match we're talking about. And on that day, a sicko was born. That terminology gets thrown around a lot. Sicko. By the way, if you use sicko as a slur, you're a tribalist.
Yeah, and also on that, because Tony Khan calls triple sickos. Yeah, because Tony Khan's not using it as a gotcha. He's not using it as an attack. He's using it as a term of endearment.
Yeah,
that's different. You know, context matters with words. So yeah, I can call somebody a sicko. I call Ryan a sicko because of the conversation that we're having. But when you're doing it as some kind of gotcha, that's when it's, you know, the same way people don't like being called fed-pilled or an e-drone. You know, same thing. I'm sure they would have no problem referring to their friends as that. But again, context always matters in this kind of situation.
I agree.
The long and short of my diatribe, right, on that front, is, to me, it's more than having a preference of a company. It's about wanting the industry leader itself to suddenly not be there anymore. What do you think happens in the vacuum of that? Is wrestling suddenly in a good position because WWE's not alive? Nope. Technically, it's not, by the way. Technically, WWE has died twice. But the WWE of today is corporate wrestling, TKO, Endeavor, Silver Lake. I could go on in their org chart here in terms of ownership, right? It's about wanting the industry leader to suddenly no longer be here. This is not even about WWE or AEW. I am actually calling out very specific tribalists on this one who want WWE to die, and I'm an AEW fan. AEW is clearly my preference, and I love professional wrestling. The industry leader suddenly can't be here anymore, and you expect wrestling to survive because if the industry leader can no longer sustain itself, which we can have a debate on whether or not financially it can sustain itself. There's a lot of smoke and mirrors that go in that, right? But WWE would have to suddenly become a little bit smaller than it is today. I don't think WWE is never not going to be here either, by the way. But It's about wanting competition to die. It's about wanting the industry leader to die. AEW was founded by Tony Khan, the Young Bucks, Cody Rhodes, Kenny Omega, Chad, somewhere along the line, because I had to initially get that initial approval. But those are the people who are important to the history of AEW, right? On that day in late 2018, when people are starting talking and putting things together, you have the proof of concept of All In, the first one in Chicago.
Yeah.
The monopoly was broken. The trust was busted. Right?
Yep.
And Tony Khan created and subsequently everybody else on that list created a environment where wrestlers finally have negotiation power for their prices, because WWE prior to this is not a tribalism. This is a statement of fact. Did not pay their talent very well in comparison to how they should be paying their talent. The existence of suddenly someone who can actually afford what WWE up until this point was paying people can now afford to pay their mortgage, their health insurance, their groceries, their travel. Also, It is what it is. So I'm very curious to you two. What is your interpretation of the word tribalism in this case? And since Hannibal has been going on for a while, and I have now been going on for a while, James, redeem yourself from your tea discussion.
Well, this is where I have probably the most experience on both ends, unfortunately, because I've seen it like in both ends of that. I think when you take it to such an extreme that you will want one company to collapse, or a wrestler who is a fan of said company he works for to have horrible things happen to him at all costs, right? Man, I recently just talked about the Thea Hale situation and what that poor girl's going through right now, for literally nothing. She didn't even, make.
We're about 2 months removed from Thea Hale, but yes.
Right. But like, that's an example. And then you have, you had the whole thing with Harley Cameron. You had the whole thing with the Oba girl. You had so many different aspects of that being the case, right? Of the extremism that either side of the fence goes to. And hopefully I'm not coming in too choppy here. I may have to close the window here. But
I can hear in general,
fine. I think
I just don't know if the stream's picking it up.
Yeah, that's fair.
I can hear you fine. We can hear you fine, so I assume the stream's picking
up. As long as you can hear me, that's all that matters. But yeah, to take it to the extreme that a lot of people do, like when they threaten talent, when they go above and beyond for a company in the name of, the WWE or AEW or any other company, right? Because you got some purist of New Japan that take it too far as well.
No need to throw Advocate under the bus like that.
No, and Advocate's not one of those, by the way. He's not one of those.
I know.
And I know we're joking, but like in all seriousness, like I've seen that so much in my drift along the ether of having nothing, a couple years ago before this show was the thing. I think I would define tribalism as that, when you go to such an extreme that you will do anything and everything, regardless if it's breaking any laws or not, to defend your favorite company. And I feel like we're gotten to that point now, which is freaking unfortunate. It is sad, really.
Every so often, you have some extreme person who stalks a wrestler, bullies people on the internet, doxes a billionaire. That's what they're
Yep.
That's the type of toxicity that this community doesn't need. That's the type of toxicity that the wrestling community itself. I'm not saying wrestling needs gate kept, okay, but the real problematic people, kind of quiet lately, relatively speaking. Okay, because AEW bad no longer really doing so well. You don't hear the AEW bad conversation not lately, because AEW isn't really that bad right now.
Nope.
Artistically, subjectively, objectively. Okay. Who knows what those max numbers are? Okay, but the cable doing 750,000 people every week now, right now. Like they pulled that back, and you don't hear me talk about. That's one of those things. That's one of those tribalist gotcha talking points. Yep. Is talking about Nielsen numbers, right? What good is talking about Nielsen numbers to you, or you, right, or me? Serves me no purpose. I'm just someone who watches the show. Unless you work for, I don't know, Xfinity, Comcast, Universal, NBC, all that. Unless you work for a cable company, I don't see why you care about cable ratings.
Yeah, the only person that should care about it is the person who actually has the numbers at his fingertips, and that's Tony Khan.
And really, even still,
it's not my business.
Even still, right? Yeah. The numbers is a gotcha talking point that these tribalists will go to. That's the first gate of tribalism, right? The next gate is, the violence, the PG. Is like, I went through years of my life hearing about people begging for the Attitude Era to come back. Will the Attitude Era come back? Will the Attitude Era come back? All this. The Attitude Era is alive and well.
Yep.
It's in a new form. AEW presents, and maybe not some of like the cockamamie bullshit that goes with the Attitude Era, but you get a little bit of violence, you get a lot of wrestling. And by the way, the Attitude Era more than encompasses just WWE. It encompasses the WCW Cruiserweight division, which is kind of what you see on a regular basis now.
Yep.
Right? Maybe not with as well-defined characters or otherwise. You can make an argument about that as an artistic argument, is what it is. But I'm a land my plane here and pass off the conversation again. Hannibal, what's tribalism to you?
So for me, and this is what I was kind of trying to get at earlier. There's a difference between tribalism and preferences, right? Because I started watching WWE about 34, 35 years ago because I'm old. So I've been watching a long time. And like you, Ryan, I had a similar journey. Early 2000s found TNA, and then suddenly that became, not immediately, but after a while that became my fed of preference, as it were. And that was a show that would be my regular weekly fix. I would still be watching WWE programming and pay-per-views, but my real interest was over at TNA. And so for me, the distinction becomes, what you enjoy, what you like, and wanting something else to fail.
Yep.
That to me is the biggest one. Like if you are active, and it's, let's be, I'll be respectful, and it's certainly not a balanced conversation, but there are people on both sides of the fence that want the other company to go away.
Yep.
Now, I hate the current WWE, not the product, but really the company, and not for the same reasons that some people do, because TKO make it more expensive and TKO bad and blah blah blah. For me, it's more moral.
Yep.
The things that have been allowed to happen in that company, and the fact that people that allow that to happen and turn the other cheek or even involved in some points are still in positions of power. And I've said, drain the swamp. When you can turn around and say, well, Vince isn't there anymore. Yeah, he's not, but other people are. And until they're gone, I'll still feel the same way. That's how I feel about it.
I mean, and to your point, look at what's happened too. Like they've brought back a lot of the problematic people that were named in that.
I'm not even. Thing. I mean, yes, there's some talent involved there, but I'm more talking about the people
behind the scenes.
Behind the scenes, because at the end of the day, they're the ones that have the real power, way more than talent. They always have done and always will do. That's what happens when you are in charge or in high positions of power within a company. You have much more power than anyone that's on the screen. Regardless, if you are actively wanting a company to fail or to close, or to be bankrupted, that's tribalist.
Yep.
That's a tribalist stance. And that is different to, I'm not enjoying this product. I think WWE matches suck at the moment. You know, whatever it is that you feel. That is a preference that's not tribalistic, because you are not wishing ill on anyone. You are not wanting a company to fail. You just do not enjoy something as much as someone else. Or, you know, in my case, enjoy something as much as you used to, because that's it. You know, most of us that are wrestling fans now started because their first introduction to wrestling was WWE, WWF. So it's always going to be there. But if that's not floating your boat, and you found that elsewhere, and whether that's AEW, whether that's TNA, whether that's GCW, MLW, any number of indies, your local promotions in your home territories, it doesn't matter. Like, you can enjoy it as much or as little as you want. But if your only interest is one company or one company alone, I find it very hard to believe that you actually have anything but a tribalistic take.
Yeah.
Because you've put yourself into that position. You put yourself into that corner of, I'm standing up for this. This is all I care about. I don't care about anyone else. How many times have we seen talent go to other companies, mainly AEW, but not exclusively? But when they've left WWE to go to another company, all they want is that person to go back to that company. Now, there's normally a reason why that person left the company. Normally because they were let go.
Yep.
Or sometimes they wanted to leave and ask for a release and got it granted, whatever. But people don't normally just leave a company for funsies. They normally do it because they're, you know, not happy.
Yep.
They're not financially compensated in the way that they feel that they should be. They don't like the schedule. Could be any number of things. But if somebody leaves a company and goes somewhere else, if you like that talent, you should follow them where they go. That doesn't mean you have to stop watching whatever it is that you were watching beforehand.
Mm-hmm.
But if you like the talent, you want to support them, go and follow them. If they've gone to the indies, go and find, go to a show, go. You know, nearly every independent has got some kind of video content that you can watch. You can do this in so many different ways in today's world. But if you are sitting there going, I just want to come back, then that's because you're more bothered about the perception of the company you support than anything else. And I'm not going to sit here as somebody like Ryan, who has a much bigger slant towards AEW now than any other wrestling company, and tell you that that company is perfect, that there's not things that they could do better, not things that they could improve upon, because of course they could do.
Yes.
But again, if you sit down and you defend every single action that a company does, that is also tribalistic.
Yeah.
So that to me is the thing. There's you know, too long didn't read. There's a difference between having preferences to being tribalistic about something, and people don't seem to understand that nuance.
To add to your point as well, like, you know, we mentioned about, you know, we've been talking about, like, you know, wanting one company to close over the other. We don't want that. I mean, look at what happened to MMA. You know, Bellator shut down, Pride shut down, Strikeforce bought out by the UFC. How well has MMA done since? One Fighting Championship tried to go right after AEW, didn't catch on. PFL has started. That's not really doing great. I mean, it's not doing bad, but it's not like, you know, Bellator was. Bellator was like the last bastion of hope. MMA is like barren right now. All that's really left, if you want a major opportunity, is the UFC. And that's really not good. And especially if you think what TKO is doing to WWE is bad, man, shit, like, look at the UFC.
But I'm not gonna bring up anyone's names, but I did see something from somebody that we're all familiar with just recently, who said that AEW is not leverage for talent. And I thought,
no,
look, I'm not in your world, so I don't know all the ins and outs. But if you're trying to convince me that having a company that is an alternative, that is able, where they've not had this before for the longest time, able to pay WWE level money, and sometimes more. If you're telling me that doesn't give talent leverage in negotiation, I don't know what you're smoking, because of course it does. If you've got a company that says, "Hey, not happy over there, come speak to me. Let's talk turkey," and offers you like a nice bag to go over, and you're not too sure if you want to go, so you go back to your bosses and say, "Hey, look, my contract's coming up. There's interest. Do you want me?" Right? We know people like Drew McIntyre and Gunther, and even Roman, have ended up getting much better deals than they were going to, and perks on top. Cody Rhodes, prime example, right? They were desperate to get Cody. Cody was always desperate to go there. And, Vince himself, sorry to swear, but Vince himself, flew to Cody's house to get that deal done. So was the intent of getting him over there. Now, again, that conversation's not going to happen if there's not a competition.
A competition that was started because he was one of the 4 pillars, I guess, right? And I'm a Cody fan. I question it nowadays, but to your point too, and to kind of go back to the other point and the other coin of that, you don't want the industry standard to suddenly go away either. I think there's so much common misconceptions that AEW fans, true, good AEW fans, want the other place to go around. That's not the case. If anything, you want the WWE around because, the WWE, if they're not happy, they could go over there, and then if they make a name for themselves over there, they could go back and try to make a name for themselves that way. 2 examples I could think of. Cody was the one you gave. I'll go the opposite. Look at Tommaso Ciampa recently. He's doing the best work of his career. He would have never had that if there wasn't 2 places to work in North America that were huge. And I think that's ultimately it, right? You could have your preference, but it's not okay to wish a company dead. That's why I've done everything I've said. I've gone after people, not to name names as well, no matter how big or small, for wanting that to be the case. Is or just saying, well, it should happen, right? There's a person, people will say, well, somebody's going to die in an AEW ring. I guarantee it. Guess what? Anybody can die in any wrestling ring. It's tribalistic things like that, trying to put that negative energy out there. And then when it happens, it's oh shit. And well, you happy now? Nobody wants that, really. I think no reasonable person wants that for the talent that literally put their bodies on the line every single night for our entertainment. Because at the end of the day, we pay the tickets to see the wrestlers. It's not the other way around. It's not about the promoter. It's not about the behind the scenes. Somewhat about the people that kind of are able to put the show together because they get paid some shit as well. But it's about that talent. And if you don't want your talent happy, that's tribalistic to me as well.
Fish.
So this goes to the wanting a company to die thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm old enough to remember what happened in the wake of WCW.
We all were. Awful.
I am sorry, not old enough. I was old enough and cognizant enough to remember
what
happened.
Too. Yeah.
To the wrestling world without WCW. Okay?
That's fair.
That's fair. So that wrestlers used to have leverage. This is what we can offer you, whatever you want. There's we talk about, I jokingly say state piece or state issued propaganda, right? The best piece ever. This is also one of my favorite documentaries, by the way. So again, Ryan exposing how actual fat-pilled he is. Just saying. Thy kingdom come. Right?
Yeah.
Triple H was offered 2 years by Eric Bischoff. He said, no, give me one. And if I'm not worth that to you after that first year, then I'm not worth it to you at all. And he was going to eat ramen noodles or, whatever he's going to eat on protein shakes, really. This is mid 90s, bodybuilder, Gold's Gym type Triple H, not, later in life PED destroying Triple H, right? It is what it is, right? Man. All I'm saying is he took the leverage that he had from this. This is my offer here. He went over there. Vince go like, this is what I can pay you. And if your goal is to work every night, fine, we'll work that. Because at that point in time, WCW was cutting back on some house shows. Okay? Something that both companies have done now. WWE doesn't do house shows. AEW doesn't do house shows. Not that they don't. WWE does have the occasional, maybe one a week, right? AEW certainly doesn't have anything like that anymore, right? So when you break it down, wrestlers are working cold. Wrestlers are getting hurt because of this. Wrestlers are getting injured. Talk about all that, what you just said about injuries, that's part of it, right? And with the existence of AEW, certainly that your outside dates have to be approved first.
Yep.
But you have the option to go work Game Changer Pro Wrestling, to go work House of Glory, to go work Wrestling Revolver, to go work insert show here.
Yep.
Your territory, your favorite place, shout out Sammy Callihan. Anyways, my point is, right? All I'm saying, Triple H had his leverage, and he didn't have the leverage to go to another company. He had the choice. And I'm using Triple H as the example because he is the head of creative for one of these two companies, right?
Yeah.
He is the McMahon, he's the token McMahon figurehead of this company, effectively, as well. Okay?
Yep.
Because, Vince McMahon, Stephanie, all that. There has to be some connection to the McMahons left. He is the last one. Right? So, all I'm saying is, Trips, he knows all about leverage. Okay, when a wrestler, I'm going to just say Mariah May, Blake Monroe, right?
Yep.
She hit her peak. And this is not a knock to Mariah May whatsoever, Blake Monroe at all. I'm not criticizing the talent. She came in working under the greatest woman in that division, next to Mercedes.
Yep.
Only argument would be Mercedes at that point, right? So she came in, did everything that she was going to do. She became the world champion and wrestled probably the greatest women's wrestling match, the greatest women's wrestling story I've ever seen. Yep. There's no way for her to come back from that. She's done everything, right? So it's just like greener pastures. Okay, well, you talk about leverage. This is like, well, leverage is just the existence of another company. Now, whether or not you are taking a pay cut, you're going to just let the WWE corporate machine do the thing, because these wrestlers are young enough to be able to go through the experience of it. Okay, most of these people aren't burning bridges, a la CM Punk, Phil Brooks, wherever he goes. Okay, King Tribalist, right there. All right,
King is a big one.
King Tribalist himself. All right, so I just want to throw that one there. Okay, goes on the Colt Cabana podcast in 2014. After he walks out of the company, does his own thing, starts spreading a lot of anti-WWE propaganda, and Punk's entire fan base comes after Ryback, of all people, who did fuck all, really, to deserve the harassment that he got. It is what it is. And this is not me trying to come out as this big Ryback fan. I love Feed Me More. I love Goldberg-style wrestlers. It is what it is. Sue me. Right? My point there, right, is wrestlers kind of stoke the wheels of tribalism themselves all the time. When CM Punk came back, when CM Punk came back, it was hard for me to get better in a place that made me sick in the first place. Try your luck over there. Buy one, buy two, get three free extravaganza.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of the exact quote. I can't.
Buy
the point
one,
is,
get one free 4-night extravaganza.
4-night extravaganza,
yeah.
Arbitrary numbers at this point, right? All I'm saying is the wrestlers do it too, and the wrestlers create the environment for this. And maybe it's the onus is on the companies. And with that, I go to Vince McMahon will buy that piss hat company and fire you just for the sake of it.
Yeah.
First shot. That was shot number 1. Hall of Fame. That was made. Completely unnecessary, completely unprompted. Tony Khan allowing a talent of his to go to the WWE Hall of Fame.
He literally did that to be kind as well. Like, a lot of people don't.
I don't. Well, tinfoil just me. Dustin Rhodes was out early. I think there was a quid pro quo. I have no evidence to suggest this. Don't quote me. This is it. But Dustin Rhodes was allowed to leave his contract early and go to AEW for Double or Nothing.
Yeah.
Did that not happen that first year?
Yeah,
I don't think it did. I thought Dustin was released.
He might have.
Yeah, but he was released from his contract. Yes.
Yeah, like
what prompted the release of that contract is where I'm getting at, right?
Yeah, like
here.
That was like not the point I was making with that. Again, to the point of Tony, it's like he did that just because he's like, yeah, go for it. Like you can do that. And he let him go there. He gave WWE a gift to have DX completely inducted, like, as a unit.
And to be honest, like it wasn't the first. It was the first time. It wasn't the last time. They also allowed talent to be talking heads. For a not document, like a promo. Sorry, I was trying to think what it was, but yeah. So they had Jim Ross, they had Danielson, I want to say, maybe Paul Wright. But anyway, they allowed AEW contracted talent to do some other stuff as well. So Tony's always kind of like tried to do that, or sort of did. I think there was a point in time where
Stone Cold podcast, Broken Skull podcast, Chris Jericho, Steve Austin.
Yeah,
that was pretty early in that as well, and that was like the biggest example of all of them.
MJF, I believe, as well, unless that was pre AEW, but I remember he showed up a couple times on the Stone Cold show.
No, that's not Broken Skull Ranch.
Yeah, there's two. Yeah. We're talking podcast versus.
You're right.
The network show. But I mean, there was obviously a point in time where things got too hostile, and Tony relinquished on that, and then we saw that again happen when Sting was having his retirement match, and a talent that were on Legends deals. Not talent that were working on TV or anything like that. Mm-hmm. The talent that were on Legends deals were, invited, asked if they could attend Sting's retirement match, and were told no. Not they could be in the building, but what they couldn't do was appear on television.
Yeah.
So again, it just kind of a bit petty. But again, this is where the friendliness had kind of stopped, and I don't think we'll see any kind of changes to that with things how they are, because of the people that you're negotiating with don't want to play nice, which is fine. It's business, whatever. But you'd like to think in this day and age, you're not asking for talent exchange. You're not asking for the forbidden door to be like kicked wide open and to start doing that. But little things like that, which are not going to really have an impact on the business, like Hall of Fame inductions, like appearing in promo videos. I don't think that should really be too much of an ask, but here we are. But I think I feel that we're kind of like deviating a little bit.
There was a point where I did have a point basically where I was. It just got long in the
long
in the tooth about it. But the tribalism starts forming from like the top down. Like
Yeah.
the really sick fans. Some of you are sickos. Some of you are e-drones. Those fans see the behaviors of everybody up top, and it trickles down.
Yeah.
And they think it's okay to go out and be toxic and spread all the propaganda for them. They're effectively bots, and they're not aware that they're bots.
Well,
they are being
Sorry, didn't mean to cut you off.
They are being effectively programmed by state-issued propaganda. Same way that you would see any government do this. I said this for a long time. Like, there are governments, there are churches that have committed genocides and atrocities for the type of loyalty that wrestling companies get. Right?
Yeah. It's gross.
And what I was gonna try and add to your point there, Fish, and sorry for interrupting, but if you as someone that kind of like lived through it, I remember the billionaire Ted skits. Yeah. The fact that you had the Nacho Man and the Huckster, these over the hill old wrestlers, which were no longer relevant and not in the company.
Just in their 40s.
Yeah, or fake Razor, fake Diesel. Yeah.
Yeah, but it was the new generation because we're not going to have these old timers on our TV anymore. Ignoring the fact that your biggest star at the time was Bret Hart, who was an equivalent age. Yeah. He was 40, I believe, at that point. But yeah, so I mean, as someone that grew up watching almost exclusively WWF at that time and only seen bits of WCW, I was taught from watching WWF that no other wrestling company mattered. And it wasn't the first time that they'd done that, but it was the most blatant time that they'd done that because, suddenly Vince was facing someone who was very similar to him financially. And he knew if he could afford to, get people like Hogan and Macho Man over and Mean Gene and Bobby Heenan, he had some competition and he reacted, he kicked out like an aggressive child. But the point is that you were instructed by WWF to, feel that anything other than WWF was irrelevant,
both companies were like doing that constantly to each other. Like Bischoff would do it to Vince would do it to Bischoff.
Yeah, but I'm talking even before Bischoff. Like,
that's true too.
Bischoff did his own thing because he was kind of following Vince's playbook. He could see how it worked. As much as I think the man's a bit of an idiot nowadays because his views are very outdated and ridiculous. But at the time when he was in competition, he did a very good job of knowing what to do and knowing what buttons to push. But there was a campaign, I want to say it was about 2011, 2012, the Stand Up for WWF campaign. Stand Up for WWE campaign.
That was crazy.
You had literally, like the 12 commandments or whatever it was. You had this list that was on their website. If you want to be a WWF supporter, this is what we need you to do. And it gave you a list of instructions. Talk positively on Twitter. Post photos from the shows on your Facebook profiles. Whole list of things to be done to stand up for WWE. That's what the whole campaign was called. And I can't believe anyone could sit there and look at a list like that and not to what Fish was just saying, not kind of realize that is what they were doing. They were using parts of the fan base, because obviously not everyone will do it, but they are using those parts of the fan base that look at that and go, yeah, I want to make sure that they are supported, that people are aware of the product, to do these things. An instruction list of things to do to propagate WWE. Just insanity. And the rumors of secret social media groups, bot accounts, all this. I think I said it to you, James. I can't find the photos anymore, but there was something that happened during an AEW event, and I can't even remember what the match was, but whatever it was, somebody had wrote this comment about it, like being dismissive to it, and it was copy pasted by about 10 other accounts on X at the same time.
Yep.
Same photo, same text. Right, that's organized trolling, right? Whether that was a Facebook group, right, whether it was bots, it doesn't matter at this point. But the simple fact is, it's the tactics that you use. And if you are sitting there just innocently being a fan of a product, whether that's you're on the AEW side or WWE side, but if you see that, even from one account, you don't pick up the fact that it's a lot of accounts repeating the same thing. You're either going to get defensive if you're an AEW fan, or you're going to get supportive as a WWE fan and go, yeah, look what they're saying. So this is where the most and the worst parts of the tribal argument come from. And the problem is, are we able, as a collective, as the three of us, as the group as a whole, are we able to stop this? No one's going to be able to stop it. But I do think having these conversations and, trying to just discuss what it might mean might just hopefully get some people to rethink their strategies. It is not about you having to like one company or the other. It's not that you can't, enjoy other things. That's not what it's about. All it is if you want to watch WWE, good for you. And if you want to watch AEW, good for you. And if you want to watch both products, great. And if you don't want to watch those products and you want to watch something else, also great. But there's a difference between supporting something and, trying to show your fandom off to something and trying to actually kick another one down, want to eradicate it, hoping for its demise by talking about ratings and ticket sales and any other kind of metric that, as we said earlier, makes no difference to you, me, or the guy next door. We don't need to see a cage match rating. We don't need to see a Nielsen rating to be able to decide if an episode of television was entertaining or not.
Exactly.
It's good to like, look at cage match and go, oh, other people thought it was great or other people didn't like it. Fine. But it shouldn't be your deciding factor. We've all heard people turn around and say, well, it was clearly not a good episode of Dynamite because did you see the numbers? Did you see the rating for that episode?
No. In fact, it was the opposite. And then the biggest number that Dynamite's done in a while, everybody thought was not that great.
Exactly. So again, it doesn't matter. Some of the greatest stuff that you could have seen may not be watched. And again, I've made this argument before. Look at box office numbers. If a film is very successful, like financially, doesn't mean necessarily it's great. Look how much money the Avatar films make, right? But you can also enjoy a film that didn't do very well at the box office, but doesn't mean it's a bad film.
No.
It just means it didn't find an audience, or it just wasn't popular for the masses. It doesn't mean that you can't enjoy it. And this is where I think we kind of get a bit lost. Before we move on to, because I know we've got some people that want to speak, but I just want to make sure before we go down. Was there any final thoughts from yourself, Ryan?
Okay, so I don't want to necessarily get too far in the weeds of all of this, but the first question I have is, are the people in the green room, because I can't see that, people in the green room within Collective? I know one person is there. Is there more than that one person?
Nope.
No.
All right. Bet. We can go ahead and bring Soto up.
Let's do it. Welcome, Soda.
Hello. How are you doing? How are you doing? I'm all right. I thought this was a really interesting conversation. I want to offer a little bit of you're speaking on WWE and AEW, just a different, like a international perspective, if I could.
Yeah, please. Where's yours?
So like, I don't really consume WWE. It's not my thing. I don't talk about it. That's how I stay out of tribalism, is I don't talk about things that I don't watch. But when I'm an American, so I'm going to have a little, I was trying to like put myself in other people's shoes. So when like CMLL and New Japan specifically, it's really, really neat to see the fans of those things interacting with each other and embracing everything. Like Fantastica Mania, for example. Obviously, the fans in Japan rarely get the luchadors. Few and far between, but the way that they embrace the differences and the way they embrace the art and like try to shift their perspective. I learned this at a very young age. It's basic media literacy, but it's one of my favorite things to do is like try to view it in, you know, a lens of somebody else that is not myself. I try to do that with all wrestling, and I think that kind of, as I've gotten older, kind of helped me curve my like tribalism. Like, because obviously when I was a lot younger, I didn't really watch WWE. I'm like, I thought, you know, I'm a little better, or I had a little bit of a big head. But as I've gotten much older, I love embracing those differences, and I always like tell people that's one of the best things about wrestling. It's so vast. It starts with like one little, like seeing something in a different light. And I love the way the fans in both Mexico and Japan, not that there's not like tribalism issues with the audiences of Japanese companies and Mexican companies, but I thought that was important to bring up.
No, I agree with that.
I think, Soto, you brought up a really great point, and that's not commenting on things you don't watch.
Yeah.
So I fall in that quite a bit, or used to fall in that. I used to judge Game Changer way too harshly for someone who maybe watched one show a year, if that, right? And then I started watching Game Changer Wrestling every week with James here, relatively speaking. We don't catch every show, but we catch most of them, right? And GCW is one of those deathmatch companies, mud shows, that get a lot of shit on for just putting on their own product. Like, not all of it is deathmatch wrestling. In fact, you know, I watch it for the death matches, right? There's some weeks because, you know, some state athletic commissions or local, or even more local athletic commissions prevent those death matches from happening unless you're willing to pay the fine. Unless you're willing to, James, unless you're willing to pay the fine, right? Yeah. So, genuinely, like, as a fandom, you know, the only way this works, right, is by spreading our own message, our own doctrine, our own creed, right? And that's leave this wrestling fandom better than how you found it.
Absolutely.
Right? You know, I heard that in like a WWE promo like 10 years ago. Leave this place better than you found it. Right? Mm-hmm. And that has stuck with me, that has found new life in what we do. Yep. Right? And with that being said, wrestling fans as a whole need to have more, you know, patience with stuff. You know, the onus is on the fans at this point to not necessarily go around and spread TNA. Yeah, lol TNA. You know why I say lol TNA? I was a TNA fan. I grew up a TNA fan. What TNA is today isn't my TNA. Is it legally TNA? Sure. But that's not the soul of the company that I used to love. No. And to the company that it is today, I wish them all the love and success of any wrestling promotion, be it. But TNA, my TNA, exists in two locations: Maple Leaf Pro, Wrestling Revolver. Right? Those are where that's where I get it. So, anyways, don't comment on things if you don't watch the product. Mm-hmm. If you don't comment things just off a 30-second clip that you watched one time of Kenny Omega wrestling a 9-year-old and making that your entire personality. Yes. Okay. And you know what? You know, I really hope Mercedes wrestles that giant panda.
Me too.
Giant Panda's awesome.
Yeah, Giant Panda is great. To your points on, and everybody I think made this point about like WWE, you know, kind of shilling this propaganda early in the 90s during the Monday Night Wars. Like, I think part of the tribalism as well is ignoring that aspect of it. Like, it's so many people do that. They don't realize, like you just pointed out, Hannibal, how many people, you know, have been indoctrinated to this stand up for WWE thinking. You know what I mean? Like, nothing else matters except the WWE. Ryan, I think you said that earlier. I feel like there are so many people that just choose not to hear it, or they did hear it and they just conveniently forget it. You know, they become just, I hate to use the term, but it feels like weaponized incompetence a little bit. Because it is, you know? Like, we all were there. I feel like if you lived through this, even if you went and relived it as a historian, you saw what it did to the business and how it has struggled to recover. Only recently have we gotten into somewhat of a boom period. And I don't think that should be discouraged because another wrestling company is the one who ushered that in.
Mm-hmm. I think to your point, I think some of these people that like are in that, like, I want to stand up for this company or that company, so desperately want to be a part of something.
Yep.
That is, like, you can be a part of. There's so many different niche communities in wrestling. You can be like, you can analysis everything. You could deep dive into certain aspects. Like, that is being a part of something. You can want to make change in, you know, legality aspects. There's like so much that you can be a part of when it comes to wrestling.
Yeah. It doesn't have to be like a combative thing. And I feel like now more than ever, like, not for nothing, guys, this ain't the NFL. Like, let wrestling flourish, you know what I mean?
Go on, Hannibal.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, I do remember, like, when I first got back into wrestling in 2000, I was watching exclusively WWF because that's what I had access to. But I was reading results from the other company, not ECW, but really WCW, because I was familiar with a lot of the people that were over there, so I was kind of interested from that aspect. But I did have an opinion on it because what I was reading, like whether it was results or think pieces, if they were negative about it, I would have that perception. And when I would talk about that and ECW, because I had friends that were watching that at the time, I was very dismissive of it because I hadn't really given anything else a chance. It was only when I think, like, a friend lent me a tape. Well, no, actually, he said to me, "You should buy this DVD," and it was Barely Legal '97.
Yep.
And I bought that and I watched it, and I didn't enjoy all of it. You know, I won't say I enjoyed all of it, but there were things that I saw that I was like, okay, maybe I've kind of been a bit wrong about this, and maybe I should start to try and embrace things. I think a lot of people, I mean, Ryan, you talked about when you had it. I think, you know, there's a time when something clicks and you go, maybe I've been looking at this the wrong way. And it doesn't mean that you were bad for it. It just means that where you were kind of a bit indoctrinated, that you were not looking at the bigger picture. And you're not going to like everything in every wrestling company. You're not going to like everything in your favorite wrestling company. But if you're not willing to give these things a chance,
I can't read what Grabs' comment is. So
I love double E. It's the Vladimir meme.
If you are not willing to at least try and do these things, stay out of the conversation.
Yep.
Don't talk about how bad something is if you're not prepared to give it the opportunity. And also, don't go into something with bad faith.
Yeah.
Because if you're going to go in a bad faith, you know, I'm going to watch AEW this week, but, you know, I know I'm not going to enjoy it. Then you're not going to enjoy it because you've already kind of made your decision up. So be more open-minded, less judgmental. And if you don't like something, that's fine. No one's forcing you to, but at least try and go in
Give it a
with
chance.
an open mind and see what happens.
Yeah, exactly. Ryan, your glasses are off, so I got to hear. Anytime Ryan's glasses come off,
I have
something.
Vince. All right, so cinephile Hannibal Scorch.
Yeah.
I must ask you this question. You've seen The Matrix, right?
I have.
All right, one of the greatest films, maybe of its day, of its time, inspired so many other art forms in and of itself. Ghost in the Shell, quite a few others. There are two pills. Okay? you mentioned it earlier. I refer to it as a red pill moment, where all clicks, where you've had your red pill moment. And some people are so close. And the worst tribalists that I've ever met on X, YouTube, Facebook, they're so close to having that red pill moment. And for some reason, it's almost like Agent Smith pulls up and kicks them down a flight of stairs.
Yep.
Okay. And their programming is reversed. It's full stop, right?
Yeah.
This could go to AEW fans, the AEW tribalists, the WWE tribalists, other tribalists. But those are the only two people I ever care for because, number one, number two, clearly number one and clearly defined number two companies, right?
Yep.
So those are the two with the largest audiences, the loudest audiences. And you have people, a very small amount of people who are effectively agents coming to defend their favorite company at the moment someone says something positive about the company that's not their favorite.
Exactly.
Or the moment their company is caught with their pants down doing something really stupid or illegal. Okay. So it is what it is. At this point in time, though, this conversation has ran pretty long. We did have another piece, and I don't know if we'll get 20 minutes out of it.
Well,
but
I think we can. But Solo, please stay around just in case you want to join the next part of the conversation. But we do have someone else that I want to bring in because he's. Well, I'm interested by the name. So, Advocate.
Yeah, that's right. New Japan's number one. All the other wrestling companies suck. They should go out of business. They should stop wrestling.
New Japan.
I think that this conversation is blasphemous. Why are you guys trying to take away my tribalism from me? It's all I have. How will I know who I am if I can't blindly follow a pro wrestling company?
Well, hang on, because you know what? I'm not going to make you do that. I think having this open discussion, it allows us to talk about the wider conversation. But you know what? If that's your thing, if that's what you want to do, Advocate, then by all means, you keep up the tribalism, my friend.
No, bro, you're doing it wrong. You gotta fight me. Fight me, please. All this kumbaya shit. What the fuck is happening? What happened to the sport that I loved?
It all went wrong, man.
In baseball, we'd be stabbing each other right now.
I've got a pencil in my hand. I mean, I'm willing to.
You should know. You're from the UK. You all got soccer hooligans there. That's what we need in wrestling.
Why am I wearing this hat? All I'm saying.
There you go.
Oh, that was great.
We do have another caller that just made his way through. You know what? We'll put him through and see if he can go against Advocate. We'll see if he can talk Advocate down. Grumpy, your thoughts?
No, Grumpy's on my side. He's into it.
Hey guys, first time, long time.
Hi, Grumpy.
First time calling Grumpy.
Okay, I'll make it super quick. Is that this is something that I've said a lot. It's if you're a fan of company A and I'm a fan of company B, and you hate B more than you actually like A that you claim to be a fan of, there's a problem. Like now you're just out there to be a hater and don't claim to be a fan of insert industry here. We're talking about wrestling when you're really out just to hate something for the fact that it exists.
Yep.
And that goes both ways. I mean, I know like I'm a big AEW homer, but there are AEW pro accounts that I see where I'm just like, hey, bro, let's talk about Swerve. Why aren't you talking about goddamn Triple H? Who cares about Triple H? Let's talk about Swerve some more.
Yeah, exactly, man. Yeah.
But anyway, so yeah, I just wanted to butt in with that point real quick. But I got to man the grill. I'm cooking tri-tip for dinner, so I will let you guys back to it.
Before you go, Grumpy, I was gonna say, we know all about you being a hater. You love Jamie.
She's my favorite of all time. I am a hater. Haterade. Forever.
All day. Brawling Birds for the win.
Brawling Bird.
There you go. All right. Take care, Grumpy. Thank you for popping in. Yeah, man. Just overall, I think was a very insightful conversation. Let's move on.
All right. By the way, we've got over 100 people watching right now.
Really.
Thank you so much for listening to us talk this.
And you know what? Before we even begin with the next topic, I do want to appreciate all 100 of you that are watching right now. And if you could be so kind as to hit that subscribe button right here on the Wrestle Collective. We are very close to getting to where we were before the other channel was gone. So if you can help us get there to that goal, that'd be greatly appreciated. And also, if you can, hit that like button. If you're watching on demand, leave a comment down below. Let us know what you thought of the episode, what you thought of this talking point. Please go do those things if you so choose to.
And you know why. You know why. You heard why. This will come out. You heard why.
And don't forget, of course, there is a shop that you can get all sorts of merchandise from, and that is, in fact,
shopwc.com.
There you go.
I'm glad you hit the right button this time.
There you go. There you go.
All right. Just so we can, take some heat off some people. It's Braun Breaker. Braun Breaker entered the arena tonight under the hood, everybody. Braun Breaker is absolutely the guy. I don't know for a fact that it's that, but it's Braun Breaker, everybody. That's what the math and tea leaves are saying. Anyways, so Hannibal, a few weeks ago, I sent you a text message after further pondering, because I just recently had rewatched Toy Story 2 on that day, and I'm like,
great film.
Huh. Yeah. Andy has a Famicom. Super Nintendo. He has a Famicom, Super Nintendo, legally distinct Famicom. All right. And there's a Buzz Lightyear game that all the toys are playing on it, right? And so technology has been a thing in the lives of the children within the Toy Story universe for quite some time. All right.
The Toy Story cinematic universe. Yep.
Yeah. So Toy Story, Monsters Universe, Cars, wherever you fall on the Pixar timeline, it is what it is. So I thought, why is it suddenly now a problem? Right? And you go like, we'll debate it. We'll debate it on Tism, right?
So debate.
So, anyways,
I gotta be the man in the middle here. Debate.
James, stop putting yourself over. We've talked about this. And James, my question to you, my question for you is: have you seen the new Toy Story 5 trailer? Not the new one, but the most recent one. It's probably 3 weeks old. So,
have you seen any Toy Story 5 trailer? Any of them?
I haven't even gotten a chance to.
All right. We'll pause that right now. James, you know better. It was in the promo material. Do your fucking homework.
Hold on, Ryan.
Do your homework. No.
Ryan, you got to look the other way.
Bro, on me, you're right here.
Yeah, but look the other way. Hey, there you go.
It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. I looked over there first, jackass.
Look over there, man.
You look in the opposite direction, though, on the video.
On the video, it is what it is. On my screen, that's what I'm looking at.
Yeah, Ryan. For the sake of the bit, you had to look the other way. But since James didn't go ahead and do his homework, I'll help out the discussion for you guys.
Anyways, regardless of the point, good. He can stay down. All right. Anyways, point being, all right.
I can still contribute.
No, you can't because you ain't seen the trailer.
We just talked about this in the last conversation, James.
If you haven't watched it,
you can't have a point.
I can.
No, you can't because you don't know the plot synopsis.
Can I also just point out? Right, James running around and saying, "Yeah, I've not had time to watch that 2-minute trailer in the last 5 weeks." Is a wild accusation to make. Let me just say that. So yeah,
all right, James, come back up whenever.
Set it up. Set it up. Set it up.
Anyways, the trailer, James, for the plot synopsis here, right? Another Toy Story. Are you familiar with like Leapfrog?
To a degree, yeah. I know Leapfrog. Yeah.
The reason why I'm pointing out Leapfrog is this is what it objectively is. It's a Leapfrog tablet. It's a child's first tablet.
Yeah.
Bonnie, not the main character, but one of the little human girl from Toy Story 3 who inherits all of Andy's toys.
Yes.
You've at least seen Toy Story 3, right?
I have.
You're not that uncultured.
Yeah, I'm not that uncultured.
All right. Okay, so it appears that technology, the universe is finally caught up to where it would be, and smart devices are now being dropped in children's hands, effectively.
Oh, wonderful. Oh,
so
boy.
Technology is now replacing this. And my first thought here is Hannibal. This PlayStation or Nintendo or whatever insert video game console here does not have a personality. It is effectively a toy, right? Does not have a personality, does not have a mouth, anything, eyes, way to communicate whatsoever, which is interesting because I forget his name, but other electronic toys had personalities, and they were effectively computers. See Toy Story 2.
Yeah, you're talking about the Speak and Spell, right?
Yeah, the Speak and Spell. Yeah. It had a personality. It communicated. So I'm just curious.
Very much so.
The initial question is, what's the point of this movie? Why is this suddenly now a problem? We know why. Technology is advanced to the point where, goddamn, right? You drop a phone and iPad. iPad babies are the fucking worst, and Bonnie's an iPad baby now, evidently. So that's going to suck. But why didn't the Nintendo have a personality? Cinephile Scorch, you're on the stand.
Okay, well, I think the most obvious point here is the beauty of a speak and spell. I never had a speak and spell, deprived childhood, but the beauty of a speak and spell is kind of in the name. It can speak and it can spell, right? So it can read out words. So the whole way that thing is able to communicate is because it literally has a speech function. The toys in the Toy Story world all have mouths. Now, look, I'm not going to sit here and debate the logistics of this because, quite frankly, if anyone's ever owned a Buzz Lightyear doll or a Woody doll, those mouths, unless you buy the special edition ones that actually do properly talk, don't have functioning mouths. Their mouths are kind of like sculpted into the face sculpt, can't actually move. So if we ignore that fact as being part of the problem as well, but quite simply, a console doesn't have, certainly ones back in those times, don't have voice functions. So they do have speakers, but the only noises that come out of a console are from the cartridges that you insert, and there's normally no real speech with it. So that's going to be my counter argument to why the console in Toy Story 2 did not have a personality. Also, as well, to that point, I think we can all agree a Super Nintendo, a Super Famicom, whatever you want to call it, wherever you are in the world, at a dinner party, probably the dullest guest. Yeah, we can agree with that.
Yeah.
Dull console. Some good games, don't get me wrong, but as a console, pretty dull.
Yeah.
So let's go back to the Toy Story 5 argument on why this is now such a thing. Why are the toys so fearful of this lily pad? I believe that's what they've called it. I think it's called a lily pad. Because lily pads obviously are
legally distinct leapfrog.
Yes.
Leapfrog.
Well, the funny thing is in Toy Story 2 when you have the scene with the Barbie dolls, it was kind of a bit of an in-joke. They make a bit of an in-joke about the sales of the Buzz Lightyear dolls that year because, sorry, not that year, but when they first got released and sending out, because Mattel were approached about having Barbie in Toy Story. and they basically told Pixar where to go. They didn't want their properties involved in this weird cartoon thing that they were working on. And of course, by the sequel, they're kind of like chomping at the bit. We want to get our toys in this thing, so it's quite funny. But I think the big thing here and why this is now such an issue in the world of the toys is because any kind of tablet device, any kind of smart device can do everything.
Yep.
If you wanted to play a video game console, you want to play the game, and you might play that for 20 minutes, you might play that for 20 hours, if your parents are completely irresponsible. But it was something to kind of like just do in that way. But with a tablet or a smart device, the world is your oyster. You can use it to play games. You can use it to find out information. You can use it as an educational tool. There's so many things. But I think the big seismic shift, and it's funny because really this could have been a plot point for Toy Story 3 when that came out, because this was starting to become a thing then. But it is this seismic shift from toys for children to interactive devices for children. I've got 2 children.
Did he just pause?
He. Oh.
All right. He's doing a bit. All right. I just wanted to point out, because you were on something real quick.
Wow.
So just you mentioned that this should have really been a plot for Toy Story 3. I just want to just, for the sake of world building in the conversation here, Toy Story 1 released in 1995. Andy is 7 years old,
6, 7.
maybe 8. He had a birthday. I don't remember how old he was. It's been a while since I rewatched Toy Story 1. All right. But it came out in 1995. Toy Story 3, where we see a fully aged Andy going off to college, releases in 2010.
Yep.
Okay. Now, realistically speaking, the year, like assuming Toy Story 1 is in year 1995, and you apply a year to all of this, right? And he's 8 years old. So realistically speaking, this movie should be taking place in about 2005 in Toy Story 3. Obviously. If we're doing the math.
No, because if we say Andy was, let's just be generous and say he was 7 in 95. You go to college at 18, right? In the States, you go to college at 18. Is that the age you go to college?
17, 18, 19 years old.
Yeah.
Three.
So if he was
in that 3-year window.
So if he was 6 in 95, he was 16 in 2005. So 2007, he would have been going to college if the maths was mathing.
We're grasping at straws at this point, but
sure.
Bonnie is very much a 3-year-old. 4?
No, I think she's
2?
4. I think she's 4 or 5. I can't remember how old she is. I think she's older. I think she's older than 3, but I think she's younger than 7. But to your point, in Toy Story 4 and in this latest one as well, Bonnie doesn't really appear to have aged very much. They've kind of done a bit of the Simpsons with Bonnie. She hasn't.
Yeah.
Certainly from what I've seen, she hasn't aged many years. She'll be older, but she will still probably be around 10, I imagine, at this point in proceedings. You're not going to get a lily pad, kids iPad type device.
Andy is 6 in Toy Story 1. Okay.
But Bonnie is not going to be a 12-year-old getting a lily pad tablet. That's something you get for somebody who's about 7 or 8.
I guess my point is the year is not 2026 in human. It's not 1-to-1.
Yeah.
It's been a few months since what feels like it's been a few months since Toy Story 3 or even 4 in real world, like in terms of the timeline.
Yeah.
There was definitely a time jump between 3 and 4. And I'm only saying that because they were talking about things that had happened over a period of time where basically they weren't getting played with as much anymore. So she must have aged slightly, but again, this is not the age gap. Michael, I mean, this is the most Tism topic conversation we're having right now. I love it. But
yeah,
but you know, between Toy Story 3 and Toy Story 5, there's not been the time period in that timeline that we saw from Toy Story 1 to Toy Story 3 with Andy. So she's, you know, you're right in it's probably months, if not, you know, a few years, but we're not talking a decade.
So this is
like we were.
Just to understand too, like this is like around this time, this is going to be like the fear of her becoming like, you know, a lily pad kid per se. Is that like kind of the concept of the movie? And
that is the trailer. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. Cause it's weird that they're kind of going this route because, there was like, I feel like every Disney movie is going down that now because I remember I was watching Wreck-It Ralph Breaks the Internet. And like by the end, there was a tablet kid, and then they like invested into the game and whatnot. And that whole concept of the movie was, well, the internet's a scary thing. So now it's Toy Story 5 kind of going with the plot of, well, the internet's a scary thing. Whenever us toys.
No. You're missing the point.
Right.
It's not the internet scary.
Period,
it's not the internet scary. It's that this is
toys are for play, but tech is for everything.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
The toys are irrelevant. Yeah. And the thing is, why this is a relevant topic now, I guess, to have as a storyline for a film like Toy Story is because there has been this seismic shift.
Yes.
Now I've got two still relatively young kids, and you know, I remember my childhood growing up, and you know how I was with toys, how friends and peers were with toys, what they played with, how they played with toys.
Yeah.
And now having my own and seeing their interest in toys and how they play with toys, it's very different because when I was growing up, and obviously it's even more different to either of you two, you know, we had a computer in the house.
Yeah.
But there was no internet at the time. You had some games to play, but it was like you have so much screen time, you have so much play time. Those lines have become blurred, and mostly because now everyone is on a smart device. And so when you go into a toy shop, I mean, I remember the years when you know, you'd have your summer blockbuster movie. Sorry to bring it back to movies, but you know, you could go into a toy shop and you would see an action figure line for Pongo, for Waterworld, for The Shadow, lots of films that didn't really make, you know, much business. You know, all this. The summer was a time when, you know, Hollywood released popcorn blockbusters for kids, not for kids, but for families, and there would be an accompanying toy line. Now, if you go into a toy shop, you don't really get that. You get there's a few franchises you do. Like last year, we had, you know, a Minecraft movie range of toys to go along with that. And when the Turtles film came out a few years ago, there was a separate toy line for that. But generally speaking, you know, lots of films nowadays do not have that promotional toy line, which was kind of like, you know, you've seen the movie, now play with the toys. They don't really exist anymore because the marketplace has changed. Kids now are not clamoring for action figures, for all the things they want to play with. We've got other things to do. We've got the video games to play. We've got the apps that we can go and look at the film and watch video clips and all this.
What's so crazy about that too, Hannibal, to your point, is like, I think we were all in between the generations of the shift. Like, we knew what it was like to play outside, play with toys, all that stuff. And now we're also the generation that was the infancy of technology. Like, is a very relevant topic. So yeah. I mean,
I've tried to keep that alive with my kids.
Yeah,
but
it's
again,
hard.
I saw that change.
It's huge. It's drastic.
Yeah, my daughter. I mean, my daughter has some toys. She still has some toys every now and again.
But
at the moment, she's been getting these Polly Pocket sets because they do these Polly Pockets now based on like Stranger Things and Friends and The Office and stuff, right? So she has some of those. But the point is, she doesn't sit there on the floor and make up worlds and stories or fake wrestling federations like I would have done back in the day.
Yeah.
And so the changes happen. So this, to me, so the point of Toy Story 5 is, and the reason the toys are so like scared is because this is going to come in and this is going to be Bonnie's world now, and the toys are just there and they're just going to be ignored, and that seems to be the fear factor. So that's what I say to you, Ryan. That's how I see it, and why you're not wrong in bringing up Toy Story 2, but
are you from? And this is a great way to wrap this for now. And I'm sure before the movie releases, we'll end up having this conversation again, because we wanted to talk about unnecessary sequels and other things and reboots and all of this, but that we could pin that for another day. But we are drastically running out of time. The last thing I want to say: the only happy ending that the Toy Story universe itself within the Pixar verse has is the largest growing consumer of toys in year 2026, adults.
Yeah. So let me give you a full screen shot.
The wall,
brother.
The wall
of
toys. The shelf of other things. Anyways, the point is, right? The point is, James, Hannibal, that's the only happy ending that the toys are ever going to have, is eventually Andy comes home from college. And maybe, they go like,
buys them out, maybe.
Yeah. Maybe gets his toys back. Maybe the toys miraculously find their way back. Toy Story is effectively homeward bound, but less traumatizing.
I was trying to get it in time.
No, don't worry. But I mean, look, what's going to happen at the end of Toy Story 5 is Andy's going to find all this stuff on eBay. He's going to be in bidding wars with a load of people. He's going to end up buying his toys, but for a much higher price than he wanted to, because that is what happens with adults when we want to relive our childhood. And that, I'm joking about that a little bit, but if the actual angle,
that's the honest to God,
is
that would be really cool though. I'm not even gonna lie.
If that's where it's going to kind of go, where it's like actually these things now have shifted from the child back to the adult trying to relive their childhood in an Arrested Development situation, then I'm all for that Toy Story film. Make it happen, man.
Yeah, honestly,
James, do you want to do your plugs?
Yeah, before I do my plugs, I got one joke for you guys since you mentioned eBay. What's Dev's favorite shop? eBay. Sorry. Because three-way.
You know what? James no longer gets to plug his stuff. All right. If you here enjoy the Wrestler Collective, if you like James and the things that James specifically does, you can go check out these Simple and Reliable Studios and all those things. They got an interview this week featuring me. Anyways,
that's not Ryan, by the way, in the picture. Just
that is not me. That's not me. Clearly, I have hair. That is GCW independent wrestler Dr. Redacted. That's something big that they have going on. And again, I will be featured on that. Yeah. Anyways, sporadic watch alongs, whatever. I haven't seen the schedule. It is what it is. If you enjoy the Wrestler Collective and you enjoy our content and you want to support our content, please like, subscribe, interact down below. If you're on video on demand, please, like and comment. That helps boost the algorithm and all of that jazz. Please share all that. Follow on the Twitter, the Instagram, where we are live currently.
Buy the fucking merch.
Buy the fucking merch.
Do it. Hit the merch button.
But we appreciate all of you who have stuck around, participate in our content, watch the show. Sincerely, we've been doing this over a year now in some form or capacity. We appreciate everyone who sticks around.
Yeah, it's pretty much
also, Wrestle Collective Weekly Thursday, 6 p.m. Light the Fuse on Wednesdays at 5:30 p.m. Monday nights and Wednesday nights. Wednesday night Carlos or Wednesday night Chaos, Monday night Chaos Raw review with Carlos and friends. Between Grumpy, Abel, and everybody.
C to the low 777.
Anyways, we appreciate all of you. Hit the button.
Do the thing. Hit the subscribe button. That is pretty much all for us, you guys. Dr. Redacted is next time you'll see me and Ryan on screen at least. And until next time, guys, there is always a little bit of spectrum on the internet. See you guys next time.
Take your Tylenol.
Take your Tylenol. Tylenol
Troopers
for the win. Woo!
Ladies and gents, thanks for stopping by. And until next time, this is the Wrestle Collective.